Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This is my second video for this evening, so if you want to check out the one I just uploaded a few hours ago, please, I would appreciate that. But this video is going to be a review. This is an Australian film. It's an adventure drama comedy released in 2007. Now, most of it's in English language. There are a few different languages, so you're going to have to do a little bit of subtitle reading, but don't worry, majority of it is in the English language. So, 2007 release, directed by Michael James Rowland, and this movie is called Lucky Miles. And the story to Lucky Miles is as follows. It's 1990, and an Indonesian fishing boat abandons Iraqi and Cambodian refugees in a remote part of the Western Australian coastline. Whilst most are quickly caught by officials, three men with nothing in common but their misfortune and determination to escape arrest begin their epic journey into the heart of Australia. Pursued by an army reservist unit, our three heroes wander deeper into the desert, desperately searching for civilization amongst the stones of the Pilbara. So what we have, it's set in Western Australia, and these refugees are dropped off by an Indonesian fishing boat at the coastline. So the people who are responsible for this trafficking, they tell these refugees that if they cross the sand dunes, there's going to be a bus waiting for them. These refugees cross the sand dunes, but it's nothing but desert. So they're in the outback and they're stranded. The boat people who were responsible for the transportation, they take off, so it's clear that they've been lied to. So these refugees have no idea what they're going to do. They have no idea about Australia, and what they were expecting is kind of funny because it's so far from the truth. So we've got Iraqis and Cambodians. Now there's a group of them, and they decide to go their separate ways. The Iraqis with each other and the Cambodians with each other. Most of these refugees are rounded up by the police and an army reservist unit who is assigned the task of chasing down these refugees. But there are three of them who are left, and they've managed to evade capture, and they journey deeper into the desert in hope to get to the city of Perth. Now Perth is a very isolated city in the state of Western Australia, but then they realise they're not going that direction, in that they're closer to the city of Broome, which is in the opposite direction. But then it turns out that they're not so close to Broome, that they're going a completely different direction. So they're walking around like headless chickens. They've got no direction, but they still have hope that they're going to run into civilization. So there's an Iraqi and two Cambodians who have nothing in common, and it's a comedy of errors that lead them to being in a more hopeless situation. And what happens at the end, it's something that you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that is as far as I'm going with a synopsis. Now, my thoughts on this film. I'd never heard of this Australian movie, which is a great pity, because I thought this was absolutely brilliant. As far as a comedy goes, it's very subtle, so it can kind of double as a dark comedy, and it also doubles as a political film. Now, what I liked about it so much is that I don't care so much for political films that make a statement and try to brainwash you with propaganda. This one touches on a very touchy subject here in Australia, and it concerns boat people, refugees, in that the way the Australian government deal with these refugees, it's very controversial, and it's a very split opinion of what should happen to these boat people, asylum seekers, who are escaping the injustices of their own land. So it would have been easy for this to be forced down your throat, and the director trying to put a message of his across. But what I really liked about it is the fact that it stays away from that. This is just a background story. These are just boat people, and it just shows you how people who are so different have to work together in order to survive. So it really isn't a political film. Although it does have a political message, it doesn't rely on its political views, which is, something that's a breath of fresh air, and something I really wasn't expecting. Now, cinematography, absolutely brilliant. It captures the Western Australian outback. I've said time and time again that Australia are very lucky because they have a lot of scenery to at their disposal. And every film lately that I've come across that's set in this area of Australia have nailed it, and this is no different. Very dry, barren landscape, kind of hopeless, and it just shows you how unforgiving most of Australia is, and how big it is, and how easy it is to lose your life in this situation that these guys were facing. But the desperation of what these people were going to do, they wanted to make a better life for themselves, and for that reason you get immediate liking towards these characters. Although there's not any depth to them, you think, they're good people. They're just stuck in a very bad situation. As the film progresses, you know a little bit more about each of them, and when they start arguing amongst each other, I thought it was very, very witty dialogue. Music wasn't really a feature in the film. It didn't really rely on music, but what it really relied in, as I said, very witty script. It's not slapstick comedy, so if that's your kind of humour, you're not going to get anything out of this. I think you'd find it pretty boring. But if you've got an Australian sense of humour, I actually think you'll really like this one because I loved it. It's a movie about Australia. It's a movie about how harsh it can be, and it's a movie about how kind the people of Australia can be as well. Then you've got other characters such as the Army Reserve Unit, who are tasked with tracking down these asylum seekers. So in one way, I guess you could call it a cat and mouse film, although it doesn't really come under that category. But the Army Reservist Unit were really funny as well, and each and every character is larger than life, although it doesn't go to the point of being ridiculous. So it really reminded me of a film called No Man's Land. Now, No Man's Land is centered around the Bosnian-Serbian war, which is totally different from this one, but it's the same in the fact that it's got a political storyline, but it doesn't force its opinion upon you. That's not the whole basis of the film. So don't let that put you off. It's not a political film. It's won a lot of awards, and I can see why. It's a movie that not many Australians talk about, but it's certainly a movie I'm highly recommending. There's a little bit of language subtitles, so don't let that put you off. It's very easy to read. And as I said, there is a lot of English spoken in this one. So I mean, I was blown away. I can't believe no one has ever talked about this little Australian gem. It is a gem, and if you're a fan of Australian cinema, this one is definitely one to get because, yeah, it's really funny and it's very, very well made. So in the end, I'm going to give this one a 4.5 out of 5. Alright guys, it's my review for this evening. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later.